There are accidents, and then there are warnings. Events so terrifying, so incomprehensible, they carve themselves into the memory of a place. Locals whisper about them. Officials deny them. Maps erase them. But the shadows, they never forget. It all began with a road trip. Simple, innocent, and full of laughter, just like thousands of others across India. 3 friends, Rohit, Zaid, and Mehak, were traveling from Delhi to Spiti Valley, eager to experience the raw beauty of the mountains. They were in their mid-20s, carefree, adventurous, the kind who filmed every moment for social media and laughed off every superstition. But some things laughed back. They decided to take a lesser-known route, a shortcut suggested by an old tea stall owner. Zyada Sundar Rasta Hai, Kambit Hodi Hai, he said. Beautiful, isolated, untouched. They were thrilled. The road started off well, wide, scenic, with thick pine forests on both sides. Birds chirped, sunlight danced through the trees. Mehak even said, "This feels like a movie set." She was right, but not the kind of movie she imagined. About 40 kilometers in, the signal on all 3 phones dropped simultaneously. Not unusual in the hills, they thought, but what followed wasn't usual at all. The road narrowed unnaturally. Trees on both sides leaned in as if listening. The temperature dropped even though it was midday. A thick gray fog started forming, so dense that they could barely see 5 feet ahead. And then they saw it. A tunnel. No name. No markings. Just an arched mouth carved crudely into the mountain. The air around it felt wrong, thicker, colder, heavier. Rohit slowed the car. Was this on the map? Zaid asked. Mehak checked her downloaded route. Nothing. Not even a hint of a tunnel. But turning back meant hours of delay. Let's just drive through. What's the worst that could happen? Mehak said, chuckling nervously. They entered. Immediately, everything changed. The moment they crossed the threshold, it felt like they had driven into a different world. The headlights barely worked. The air was damp, metallic. The walls were covered in strange black moss that pulsed faintly as if breathing. The car engine suddenly began sputtering. The GPS shut off, and the radio, just static. Even their breathing sounded muffled. Then came the first sound. Not an echo. Not water. A dragging noise. Slow. Deliberate. Scraping. From above. They froze. What the hell was that? Zaid whispered. Then came a loud thump. Right on the car roof. Something had landed there. Mehak shrieked. Rohit gripped the steering wheel. Stay calm, he muttered. Probably just a rock. But then it moved. The thing began crawling across the roof. Its movement unnatural, jerky, like it had too many limbs or not enough bones. They could hear its nails scratching the metal. Suddenly, a window fogged up from the outside, and a long, slender finger drew a smiley face. They screamed. Rohit hit the gas. Nothing. The car didn't move. It was like the tires were cemented to the ground. Then, in one horrifying moment, all the windows fogged up from the outside, and handprints appeared. Dozens of them. Then the lights inside the car started flickering. White, red, and in each flicker, they saw figures outside the car, standing, watching, faces pale, eyes missing. Then darkness. Absolute, crushing darkness. Mehak whispered a prayer. Zaid tried to open the door. It wouldn't budge. And then, a face pressed against Mehak's window. But it was hers. Her own face. But distorted. Mouth sewn shut. Eyes bleeding. And it smiled. She fainted. The engine suddenly roared. The car jolted forward, as if released. Rohit didn't wait. He pressed the pedal, speeding through the rest of the tunnel. The light at the end finally appeared, a faint circle of hope. They emerged into sunlight. Breathless. Terrified. The car skidded to a halt, and Rohit jumped out. He ran to the back. The tunnel was gone. Behind them, just solid mountain. No opening. No road. Just trees and rock. They were shaking. Confused. Mehak was unconscious. Zaid sat in silence, hands trembling. They drove to the nearest village, Narkanda. There, they found a small lodge. The owner, an old man with a milky eye, stared at them too long. Tum la kahan sieho? He asked. When they described the tunnel, his hands began to shake. That tunnel doesn't exist anymore, he said. It was sealed 20 years ago, after the accident. What accident? Rohit asked. The man sat down, voice low. 3 friends like you went missing. They were found after a week, dead, in their locked car. Eyes removed, smiles carved into their cheeks. People say the tunnel eats those who enter it. It mimics them, replaces them. They thought it was a myth, until the nightmares began. Every night, Mehak woke up screaming. She said she dreamed of herself, standing at the end of the tunnel, beckoning the others to come in. Zaid began talking in his sleep, in a voice that wasn't his. Rohit found bruises on his neck every morning, like hands had tried to strangle him in his sleep. Then came the disappearances. First Mehak. She went out to buy water. Never came back. Her slippers were found in the middle of the road. That was all. Then Zaid. Gone from his room. Bed untouched. Phone left behind. But the CCTV showed him walking out the gate, and moments later, coming back in. But it wasn't him. The figure looked like Zaid, but the walk was strange. Like its joints were reversed. Only Rohit was left. Terrified, he contacted a paranormal investigator, a woman named Dr. Anuradha Iyer, who had studied folklore and supernatural geography for decades. She listened calmly and then said one thing. You escape something that doesn't let go. It marks you. She gave him a small iron talisman and told him to never return to the mountains. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. A few weeks later, Rohit received an email. Subject: tunnel footage. Attached was a video, recorded on a dash cam, but he hadn't uploaded anything. It showed them entering the tunnel. Everything looked normal, until halfway through, when the figures began appearing. When the car stopped, then the screen glitched, and another face appeared. His own, but not his. Its eyes were black voids, its skin gray, and it whispered, You left me behind. Rohit's scream echoed through the house. That night he vanished. Only his car was found, near Raikal Jain. Doors open, lights flashing, and carved into the dashboard were the words, I never left. Authorities dismissed it as another tourist accident, but locals knew better. They say every few years, the tunnel opens, for those it remembers. It calls them back, and if they resist, it comes to them. Now here's the terrifying part. The footage was leaked online by an anonymous account, and dozens of viewers reported something strange. After watching it, their dreams changed. They all saw the same thing, a tunnel, a smiling version of themselves, and a voice whispering from the darkness. You've been marked. A few even claimed to find handprints on their car windows in morning. No one believed them, until the bodies started turning up. Eyes missing, mouths carved into grins, phones still recording. To this day, no one knows how the tunnel appears or vanishes. No mapping app shows it. No drone ever finds it. But it finds you. So the next time you're traveling in the hills, and your map glitches, and you see a road you don't recognize, with a tunnel that seems oddly out of place, turn back.